Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Now, in a crazy twist of events, Nigerian social media influencer, 21-year-old Augusta Osedion, has been found dead in the apartment of another prolific Nigerian social media person who also doubles as a crypto person and a trader of a sort, with his hands in all kinds of pies. And he goes by the name Benjamin Best, aka Killaboi, and he is also tagged as a Nigerian gambler. This case is a case that is still evolving, and we are here to give you the full gist from its inception to date as we keep on tracking what will be coming out after this issue. Now, when she was found, she wasn't just found dead, but it turns out that certain parts of her body had been chopped off. What is this meaning? Some people are certain that this could be a ritual killing. Is that the case? Keep your fingers crossed, buckle up, and we'll bring you the full gist as to what has transpired and the meaning and implication of how this young 21-year-old Augusta Osedion, aka Osta XXO, passed in the house of Benjamin Best, aka Killaboi. If you are ready for this true crime story, just buckle up and let's go. Now, before we get into today's case, kindly support our campaign against femicide by just going to the comment section and type in "Please stop the femicide" or hashtag "Say No to Femicide" and help push the campaign. Additionally, you can like the video and share with your various people in your network to help push the campaign as well. Additionally, our analytics tells us that most of you watching our videos are not subscribed to our channel, and this is hurting us so much. Please do us that favor and just hit the subscribe button and leave a comment about what you think about this whole case and what angles could be playing out as the case goes forward. Now to the substantive case at hand. The case of the 21-year-old who was first declared missing and would end up being found dead. She is the person of Osta XXO on Instagram, but her government name is Augusta Osedion, a 21-year-old Nigerian who is reported to have been dating another popular Nigerian by name Benjamin Best, aka Killaboi. This case is as fresh as the 17th of July 2023, and it's an evolving case. Investigations have just started, but we have dug so deep to get you the gist as we pursue for more information. Now, the whole thing started building up from the 14th of July when Osta was declared missing because her mom was unable to reach her, family members couldn't reach her, friends also didn't reach her, and it seemed like this was off because if you know Osta, you would know that she's a very, very affable person. She's a social media person who flaunts, not in a negative way, but she seemed to be full of life. So she's the outing type, she's the social media person, she's out there, so to speak. And she's a blogger of a sort. She's a social media influencer with over 100,000 followers on Instagram. So she's very active on social media. So obviously something would seem off if over 48 hours have gone by and there is no contact from this person, there is no activity from this person, either in person or on social media, and she's not picking up her calls. Definitely, it will raise some concerns. And this was exactly what happened. Now, when this started building up, people got concerned, and eventually her mom was contacted. Her mom indicated that her daughter had actually informed her that she had a misunderstanding with her fiancé by name Killaboi, and that she, the mom, had actually tried to resolve the issue. I don't know what the specific issue is, and her mom also did not mention the specific issue. I don't yet know why she decided not to. Maybe she doesn't want to put her daughter's rags out there, so to speak. I respect that. But this was what her mom said. So at a point, they decided to go and check on her at Killaboy's house. They went there, but the house was locked. And they went with the police actually, but the house was locked. They kept banging, knocking, but nobody was responding. It was as though there was nobody at home. But the disappearance of Osta or Augusta Osedion seemed off because, like I said, this was not her usual MO. And Killaboi was the center person that everyone would look at because he is central in her life. He's the one her family knows as she is either with him or she might be somewhere else, maybe on campus or something. So Killaboi obviously was the first point of contact to establish the whereabouts of Augusta Osedion. Now, they were at Killaboi's residence at Oral Estate in Ikota, Lagos State in Nigeria in search of the mother's daughter. But it wasn't obvious that there would be somebody in the house because they had kept on knocking, banging, shouting, but nobody was responding. Now, Augusta's mom, by name Cordelia, revealed that, well, my daughter had told me that she had issues with her boyfriend. They had an argument on the 11th of June. I came in to try and reconcile, but I thought it was good, but then it seems that there was still some heat between them. So at a point, her mom then reached out to her daughter's roommate, who then suggested that they should go to Killaboi's house with the police because maybe something could have gone wrong under the circumstances due to what was transpiring prior to that day between Killaboi and Augusta Osedion. So this is the backstory as to how come the mom and the police actually ended up at Killaboi's house. So they kept shouting, knocking, ringing the bell, but nobody was answering. And eventually they decided to find a way to get into the house. So per reports, they actually used a ladder to access the first floor and get in through a window, only for the police to discover the lifeless body of Augusta Osedion. At this point, things had gone south. The mother's worst fears had come to pass. And as if it wasn't bad enough, Augusta was not just lifeless, but it looked like her body had been desecrated. Portions of her body, parts of her body, were unaccounted for. It was visible that her private part had been cut off, and certain other feminine parts of her body had also been cut off. So just like that, the case had metamorphosed from the case of a missing person to a case of the person now being found dead to the person's dead body now looking like a ritual killing. So things had escalated just so fast. And she had been found dead in the residence of Killaboi, but Killaboi was nowhere to be found. So definitely he became the prime suspect. Efforts to find Killaboi proved futile, and the information was put out there that he needed to show up and answer as to how come the lifeless body of his girlfriend was found in his house. The body was then taken to the General Hospital mortuary in a town called Yaba for autopsy and preservation. But then they found a note at the premises which had been left by Killaboi, and they treated this note as an evidence. The police therefore then cordoned off the scene as preliminary investigations got underway, and then they decided to go after Killaboi and find him. They searched, they searched, they searched, they dug deep, deeper and deeper, but they couldn't find Killaboi. And I am not personally surprised because he has the resources to make himself scarce. Per reports out there and per my checks, Killaboi has some wealth such that if he wants to be elusive or if he wants to go out of the reach of the police, he has the means to do so. And it appears that's what he did. But then I think whatever their problems were, it didn't affect the love that they shared because Killaboi eventually showed up himself. He just came out of wherever he was, but he didn't do so in person. He didn't do so physically. He did so on social media. And this is what he wrote on his social media handle. I will do the right thing. I'll turn myself in. I can't live with this guilt knowing someone I loved died in my own hand. I'm deeply and truly sorry, but I want no sympathy. I'm ready to give my life now. I'm ready. She's dead and I need to be too. It's sad I achieved a lot and ruined my life by myself at age of 26, but it has happened and I am full of regret and wish I can take time back. But since I can't, I'll turn myself in and give the family peace. I'm ready for anything, including death, because I believe I truly deserve it and I ask for God's forgiveness. At this point, it gets a bit emotional, but not for me because he has taken a life. All this could be a ploy to win sympathy or whatever, or it could be genuine actually. But I think that he has to face the law. And he goes on to write, I am truly sorry for the damage I have caused and the pain I have left. Everything happened due to pain and betrayal, cheating, toxicity, and all. All this are just things that he is saying are the root causes of as to how he ended up taking the life of his 21-year-old girlfriend by name Augusta Osedion or Osta XXO. But then the question was, how did it actually happen? Was it by, say, strangulation? Was it by a gunshot? Was it by a stabbing? Well, investigations will reveal that Augusta had actually been stabbed and she had bled out to death. But then, like I mentioned earlier, some parts of her body were also missing. And then to this, Killaboi, who has still not turned himself in, started explaining that Augusta stabbed him first, and then he in turn also stabbed her and she passed. All these are yet to be confirmed, but granted he's speaking the truth, I ask myself, so what is he saying? Is he now trying to claim self-defense? Because from the little law I know, when it comes to self-defense, the force that you are applying to defend yourself from whatever force is being exerted on you by somebody else should be commensurate to that same force being applied on you. You cannot apply a force to resist someone stabbing you by rather killing the person. I don't know. He could be lying, he could be telling the truth, but either way, once he has taken that life, unless he is able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that it was justified, I think he has a lot of questions to answer with the law. But then it still begs further questions actually, even with what he said, because granted, she actually stabbed him and he stabbed her back. And then maybe she died as a result. Even though that is still not acceptable, how do we actually move from there and get to the point where somebody has chopped off some feminine parts off of the body of the deceased Augusta Osedion. And it's happened in your house, Killaboi. You were there with her. So what happened? Is it that you left her like that and then someone also came in and did that? That does not seem likely because when she was found, the body was even getting to the point where it was starting to decompose. How do you leave somebody in that state? And you are saying that you fled because you are afraid and whatever. But I think that he needs to surrender or the police needs to intensify their efforts to catch him. I hope and I'm expecting that the police are not going to be intimidated by his financial status or whatever affluence he has in that country, but they are going to commit their resources to pursuing and capturing him and bringing him to justice so that they can get to the bottom of the case. Personally, I believe there's more to this. There are some theories out there. There are some people who are actually saying that Killaboi is actually into occult funding or ritual money, and that he has been using his sports betting and gambling and crypto, whatever, as a way of camouflaging the occult money rituals that he has been engaged in, which explains the huge wealth that he has amassed. I don't have any evidence to this, so I don't subscribe to that allegation or that theory out there. But that is what people are saying, and to them, that makes more sense as to how come after he took his fiancee's life, he may allegedly have chopped off some of her feminine parts, which are known in African settings as key for rituals for money. It sort of makes sense, but like I said, I don't believe it because there's no evidence to prove same. But then, what do you think about this case? Especially with what has happened to the lady and the fact that some parts of her body are unaccounted for. I think there's more to this. I'll not be surprised if there are other people in this equation, not just Killaboi. There may be others in this equation, but maybe they may still be associated with Killaboi in one way or the other. Because if you go on Oster XOXO on Instagram, Augusta's Instagram handle, you'll see they were all over. She was really enjoying the life. She actually has a video there saying that she enjoys the soft life. I don't blame her. Well, I don't blame her, but you could see that they were all over. And I don't think he would do that with somebody he has no affection for. So there was genuinely something between them. But as to when it went sour, I can't tell. As to what she did, her mom didn't mention. And Killaboi, in his social media rant, also goes on to say that he is not going to mention what she did so that he can preserve her dignity. But he's already gone on to say that she was cheating and whatever. I don't know. I feel like he's contradicting himself. I feel like he's sending these messages and putting these social media posts about his guilt and things out there. But the next question is, are they even admissible in court as a confession from him? I don't know so much about the law on this, but my layman thinking is that it might not be, because he could even come back and say he's not the one who typed it, a friend of his typed it on his social media, or his phone got missing or whatever. I think that this case is going to travel quite a distance, and the police have a lot on their hands to do. First of all, they need to encourage Killaboi to either turn himself in or intensify the search for him and arrest him. And then they can get to the bottom of the issue. But despite all these things that need to be done, the fact of the case is the life of the 21-year-old Augusta Osedion has actually been lost. That is the painful thing. The justice will come eventually, but the life is already gone. And I'm hoping that whoever is found guilty will be given the full term. RIP to Augusta, and I wish her family the strength to endure this difficult situation. I don't know if she's the only child of the mom. There is no information about her dad or her siblings. I was trying to find out that. But I think that she is too young to face some of these things. But then again, who knows how we are all going eventually. RIP to her. And what do you think is going to be the twist in this case? For me, I'm not so confident in the social media post that Killaboi is putting out. I think there's an angle to it. He has already been tagged as a cloud chaser, and I wouldn't be surprised this could be a form of him trying to chase that clout. He has had issues with the EFCC in Nigeria arresting him and blah blah blah. But a life has been lost. I don't think this is going to be a clout chasing thing. Other than that, I think that will be below the belt. So I'm hoping that justice will be served. I'll be pursuing this case, and as and when any additional information is due, I'll do my best to bring it to you. Until then, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so, turn on post notifications, leave your comments in the comment section, and hey, share the video and push our campaign against femicide. Thank you for watching. Catch you another time.